My presentation has to do with my brother Tom. He was actually adopted from Vietnam and is headed there this summer. My family has always had the vision that hopefully one day he would get to go back and experience the culture that he's never lived in, and stay there for a whole month. So he's getting to do that this summer. Tom is actually headed there, I think June to July. And this was a fun paper to write because he's truly going to a new place. So this was a real paper instead of just a fake assumption. So he'll have to do a lot of learning on his own to fit in, per se, but also this was a fun way to provide some feedback for him in getting to kind of culturally fit in. So my recommendations were on the objective, subjective, and communicative properties. These are things that Tom may have not thought of when it comes to traveling to another culture, another place that he hasn't experienced. I mean, while he is Vietnamese, that doesn't necessarily mean he knows how to act within that culture. So I talked about how cultures differ greatly worldwide, and it can be hard to know what is right versus wrong in another culture compared to your own. So, us as Americans, we don't know what it's like to be part of the Vietnamese culture. Objectively, I talked about the geographical features, including large rainy season during summer, and I put in there, sorry Tom, you're gonna want your raincoat. The fact that Ho Chi Minh, which is where my brother's visiting, is where he was born and orphaned and adopted by my family. It is on the sorry, blanking on the name, the Indochina Peninsula, and the city of Ho Chi Minh is rapidly urbanizing, which means that the population is also growing rapidly. Subjectively, the cultural norms that he is going to want to remember are saving face is a large one that was actually in our book this semester. This means that you try your best to retain respect and avoid humiliation. One way that Vietnamese people try to do this is by avoiding speaking too loudly in public or being boastful with showing off wealth. So that's far different from American culture, which loves to be showy and show off all of the wealth and all of the nice material items that we have. So that's something that, as an American going to Vietnamese culture and visiting Vietnam, he's going to want to be aware of. Another piece of that is Vietnamese people highly value their elders, which is important when traveling there as well. Communicatively, if I can say it, Vietnam is monochronic and prefers to do one thing sequentially, as opposed to doing multiple things all at once, as we do in American culture. So I mentioned that when Tom is meeting new friends, it could be a totally different environment. Whereas when you meet new people, you're out at the bar and you're jumping from place to place. In Vietnamese culture, they probably go to one place sequentially and know where that's going to be and go consecutively to the next. So that could be a difference in young adult culture from America to Vietnam. I also noted that Vietnam is considered feminine in the Hofstede cultural dimensions, which means that they prefer to work to live instead of live to work, which I think is a really neat aspect of their culture, because it means that they don't just sit and work and live just to make money all the time. They actually value their family and their friendships and real life over work. So overall, I said that Tom's takeaway should be the main points that I've done through my research, but that he can realize truly that from one culture to the next, there's just major differences, and that he should take away the ability to not be offensive and the ability to know really what's right from wrong, and be culturally acceptable, I guess would be the right term. So here's to hoping his trip goes well, and I appreciate you listening to me talk about my overall presentation about my brother.